being disrespectful, but they talked a lot of trash and they got humbled. And I think that that's okay. That is sports. That is what we live for.
Aya Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces were finally humbled. This was supposed to be the untouchable dynasty. For Olympians, a unanimous MVP, a team many believed would cruise straight through the playoffs without resistance. Instead of steamrolling the competition, the Aces ran straight into reality, and it hit hard.
We did pretty well. It wasn't our outcome, but damn, we did pretty good, considering what the hell we had stacked against.
Wilson has tried to play it cool, pretending she wasn't affected by the loss. But the performance told a different story. She didn't dominate. She didn't take over. And all of this unfolded while controversy swirled around her recent comments about so-called privileged players like Caitlin Clark and Paige Buchers. Publicly, Wilson said she'd be just fine. But exiting the tournament this way, while trying to reclaim her image and credibility with fans, tells a much more complicated story. Notably, she has now become the first unanimous MVP in WNBA history to fail to reach the finals.
I don't want anyone to hurt for me. We're blessed. I get to play the game of basketball, get paid while I do it. I'm around phenomenal women, it's a fun thing, so hopefully no one hurts for me. We're going to wake up the next morning and be pretty good.
The timing only added fuel to the fire. Just days after a heated incident involving Dejonai Carrington, Wilson appeared to get her moment of payback. But any sense of closure vanished quickly once the Aces were eliminated. Whatever message Wilson hoped to send, it was drowned out by the final result, another early exit that shifted the spotlight away from dominance and toward disappointment.
From being one of the most loved teams in the WNBA to being riddled with so much drama this season. A'ja Wilson was under fire last week for the privileged comment that she made to Kelsey Plum. And Coach Becky Hammon was under fire for basically saying that her team was too busy being celebrities and they were distracted and that's why they're not winning games. The list goes on and on. If you're this Aces team, you really need to regroup and maybe make some tough decisions about the future of the team.
Widely regarded as one of the greatest players in league history, Wilson entered the postseason as the unquestioned face of the Aces and the presumed leader of a finals-bound team. Instead, they fell short, and beyond the upset itself, a deeper narrative has emerged. Some fans are openly questioning whether karma played a role, especially in light of Wilson's controversial remarks about Caitlin Clark. Add in the uncomfortable reality that Breanna Stewart outplayed her throughout the series, and suddenly a conversation many weren't ready for is unavoidable. Wilson's unanimous MVP award should have been the defining moment of her career, a period, not a comma. It was supposed to launch a dominant playoff run and reinforce her status at the top of the league. Instead, it now sits awkwardly next to an unfinished postseason story.
Who was unanimous MVP, which, by the way, is the first unanimous MVP in the NBA or the WNBA to ever not make the finals, which is something else. Fans are they're gonna share that. It does not mean that we are misogynistic or we're just hating on A'ja. No, it's just this is what happens when a team.
Despite being one of the most talent-loaded teams in the WNBA, the Aces failed to reach the finals. That alone is a massive disappointment. But historically, it cuts even deeper. Wilson is now officially the first unanimous MVP in league history to not even make the championship series. For a player of her stature, this isn't just a missed opportunity. It's a serious blow to the legacy narrative that was supposed to be untouchable.
No, it's because, the talent's going to be there, the skill's going to be there. Everyone knows we're going to work in the offseason.
Aya Wilson's individual season was spectacular on paper, but the Aces' early playoff exit casts a long shadow over what should have been a crowning achievement. It forces an uncomfortable question. What is the true value of an MVP award if it doesn't translate to postseason success? This is where the story takes a turn. Earlier in the season, Wilson made headlines for comments directed at Caitlin Clark, the Iowa phenom who has taken the basketball world by storm. Reports surfaced suggesting Wilson was unhappy with Nike's aggressive promotion of Clark, believing Clark was privileged and didn't deserve the level of hype she was receiving. For many fans, those remarks felt like they went beyond basketball. They came across as gatekeeping, an attempt to control who gets attention in the league. That stance puzzled people. Why would a reigning MVP take issue with a rising star who is clearly helping grow women's basketball? Competitive tension is one thing, but this felt deeper. And in hindsight, those comments have aged poorly. Clark continues to ascend, while Wilson's words now sit alongside a disappointing playoff exit. While Wilson appeared focused on diminishing Clark's stardom, Breanna Stewart was locked in on what mattered most: winning. Stewart didn't just edge Wilson out. She outplayed her decisively throughout the series. This wasn't a one-game anomaly. Stewart dominated consistently, delivering in clutch moments while Wilson struggled to impose herself, and that's the part fans can't ignore. 6 Olympians, elite teammates, favorable conditions, referees, a point guard. You're the unanimous MVP. How much more help do you need?
High as hell, but that is not the point of the story. Now, if you look at all these pictures and I'm connecting the dots here, they are all wearing Timbs. And someone may have left their Timbs at Barclays Center, which is how we got this iconic picture of the Liberty getting the last laugh. But believe it or not, the last laugh does not end here. Now, after this game in the post-game press conference, Breanna Stewart mentioned that she has receipts from last year, and so does the entire team. And she doesn't forget the things that, said people, were saying about them.
That reality raises serious questions about Wilson's ability to deliver when it matters most. Her regular season resume is elite, but the playoffs exposed a gap that can no longer be brushed aside. Stewart's defining trait is her ability to elevate her game under pressure. That's the separator. And it's something Wilson has yet to show consistently on the biggest stage. And the final game of the Aces season, Wilson scored 19 points. For most players, that's respectable. But for a unanimous MVP in a must-win game, it's simply not enough. The superstar presence wasn't there. The leadership wasn't there. She didn't lift her team when everything was on the line. With 4 Olympians on the roster, the Aces still fell flat. And Wilson's underwhelming performance was a major reason why. That ending has left fans openly questioning whether this season's MVP truly reflected postseason reality.
They need the big that can stretch the floor, get out Asia way when she's trying to go to work, stand in that corner, shoot that ball, okay? Now, if I'm looking at somebody, I'm looking at Tina Charles. Tina Charles, a little bit older, yes. Smart. Knows how to play with other bigs, yes. Stretch the floor, yes. Do other things that Asia might need her to do, yes. Okay? I'm Tina Charles, I'm trying to get my first.
This wasn't just a talented team. It was a stacked roster loaded with some of the best players in the world, including 4 Olympians and the unanimous MVP. They were expected to dominate and march toward a championship. Instead, they collapsed when it mattered most. So what went wrong? Was it chemistry, pressure, coaching, or leadership? As the face of the team, Wilson was expected to elevate everyone around her. Instead, when the stakes were highest, the Aces unraveled. Those unanswered questions will linger all offseason, hanging over Wilson and the franchise like a cloud. What should have been a historic year now feels incomplete.
It's not going to be the same group probably next year. It just won't. And I'm sad about that because I really like that group. Now, what did y'all gather from that? Because I'll tell you what I gathered, all right? It's not going to be the same group. KP leaving. KP's a Valkyrie. That's what I got from it, okay? I'm not no magic translator or anything, but that's really what I think she was.
Meanwhile, the player Wilson reportedly didn't want Nike to promote, Caitlin Clark, was navigating her own playoff experience. Clark's postseason run ended under controversial circumstances, with foul trouble dominating her final game. One moment in particular stood out. Clark was poked in the eye by Dejonai Carrington, leaving her with a visible black eye and symbolizing the frustration of her early exit. It wasn't just physical, it was emblematic of how her postseason slipped away amid chaos rather than poor performance.
To act like there isn't or hasn't been legitimate resentment emanating from those who are pioneers. Nobody's fooled here. You got pundits who used to play in the WNBA, some of them who didn't, and who were speaking on behalf of those who didn't want to create that kind of noise themselves because of the negative impact. We talk about it when the men do it. If we detect jealousy, if we detect envy, if we detect resentment, and it's amongst the fellas, we put it out there. Shit, we act like it's the latest episode of General Hospital. But when the ladies are feeling that way about another young lady like Caitlin Clark, and people like myself and Shay Shay call it out, suddenly it's a...
Despite all of that, Clark handled the situation with grace. Her elimination wasn't due to lack of effort or ability. She played well. She competed. She was simply undone by officiating and bad breaks. Even from the sidelines, her impact was undeniable, and the numbers told the real story. Once Clark was eliminated, WNBA playoff viewership dropped noticeably. Even with established stars like Aya Wilson still playing, interest declined. That speaks volumes. Wilson may have the accolades, but Clark has something just as powerful: magnetism. Fans tune in for her, not just for skill, but for the excitement, the energy, and the feeling that something special might happen every time she steps on the court. In the end, the audience made its choice clear. Caitlin Clark has become the league's biggest draw. And whether people are ready to admit it or not, this shift signals a changing of the guard in women's basketball.
Only the aces sell out every game. They got 4 Olympians. They got Asia Wilson, unanimous MVP. They got Kelsey Plum, who was the #1 overall pick. Jackie Young was on the Olympic team. Chelsea Gray was on the Olympic team. I don't get it.
So the real question now becomes this: who is the real MVP? Aya Wilson may have taken home the unanimous MVP award, but her inability to elevate her team in the playoffs and the Aces' early exit has reopened the debate about what most valuable truly means in the games that mattered most. Breanna Stewart outplayed Wilson head-to-head. And while Caitlin Clark also exited early, she remained the player who captured the public's attention and drove fan engagement across the league. Wilson had the trophy, but Stewart had the postseason dominance, and Clark had the audience. That contrast makes Wilson's MVP feel hollow when placed beside real impact. Stewart proved her value when pressure peaked. Clark proved hers even while sidelined. The demand to see Clark, rather than Wilson, reveals a shift in perception. Fans are voting with their eyes, their clicks, and their attention. Wilson may hold the official title, but it's increasingly difficult to deny that Caitlin Clark, with her unmatched charisma and gravitational pull, is emerging as the true face of the league.